In this video, we're going to talk Boveda humidity packs, when to use them, why to use them, when not to use them, and how to recharge them. Should you recharge them? Yes, you should. In this video, let's do it.
What you kids know about the 420 vape zone? Every day.
What's up, guys? It's Troy from 420vapezone.com. Today, it's going to be a quick hit video because this topic has been requested so many times. People are always asking me about my Boveda package, or whether I use the Boveda or if I use the Integra Boost packs. What humidity do I keep my weed at? Damn. If your first time here, my name is Troy. I'm a cannabis content creator, and I do this independently. I quit my job. I do this from my house. This is my spare room, and I live based on affiliate links and your Patreon support. And now, finally, for the first time in 3 channels, this is my 3rd channel because I've been deleted twice, I actually monetized my YouTube. So, yay, high five. Thanks, kids. Today, we're talking the Boost packs. Specifically, I got a bunch of dry ones here, and I gotta recharge them. But first, what humidity do I keep my weed at? I keep my weed, but usually between 58 and 62%. I like the 62% Boveda packs. That's usually what I use. These little guys right here, the tiny ones. I really like the tiny ones. The bigger ones are great for really big jars. And the 69% is usually what I use when I'm gonna do a bunch of squishing. I also have a rosin press up there on the shelf, and I have some rosin videos, so if you want to check out the other videos on my channel, go ahead. But enough about me. This video is completely unsponsored, and it's just for fun, but I do have an Amazon link for these Boveda packs in the description. Percentages, 58 and 62 is what I like. Anything lower, it just tends to be a little bit too dry. Anything higher, just seems to be too moist and doesn't grind properly. So 58 grinds really nice. 62% grinds mostly pretty good. Anything drier and it just falls apart in your grinder. You hit it with a coarse grind and boom, it turns into powder. You hit it with a fine grind, boom, it turns to powder. That's why I like the 58, 62% humidity. Both of those relative humidities, the cannabis stays intact. The trichomes stay on the chunks of nug when you run your nugs through your grinder. So there's that. Boost Integra versus Boveda. A lot of people ask about this. Like, do you prefer the Boveda or the Integra Boost? I started with Boveda, and then when I discovered the Boost, I liked the Boost a lot better. I felt like the Boost kept my weed tasting better. But now I've gone back to the Boveda because I find that the Boost just don't work for me. I've had jars from my harvest where I've harvested my weed and I let it dry too far, and whoops, I need to cure it at a little higher percentage, and I throw a bunch of Boost packs in there. I threw the big Boost packs in there even, and my hygrometer didn't even move. My hygrometer stayed at like 46%, even though it had multiple of the big Integra Boost packs in there. So a lot of people tend to say, like, if you go out on the internet and research, the general consensus is that the Integra Boost are better for your terpenes. I don't know if that's really the case. I haven't found that the Boost will work as good at rehydrating your dry cannabis. So if you have really dry cannabis, I haven't found that the Boost work all that well. I get much better results with the Boveda. Also, the Boost, you can't tell when they're dry, because when they stop working, they're still squishy and gooey because they use a gel. Whereas the Boveda, when they're dry, they become crispy. Like, they become hard, crispy little frisbee discs. And when they're moist and hydrated, they're soft and pillow-like. So Boveda, you don't need a dry indicator because it just gets hard and sharp. The Integra, they stay soft, which staying soft when they're dry for the Integra may be seen as a perk. I know I initially saw it as a perk because it'll fit in the jar, and these things become hard and can damage nugs. But in reality, if it's useless and there's no visual indicator, it's kind of a handicap. So I'd rather have the Boveda. Do they steal terpenes? That's really hard to prove and really hard to test, and I know I've done side-by-side tests where I see, like, oh man, I put in the Boveda pack and suddenly my weed tastes different, or I put it in there and it tasted great, and then 2 months later my weed tasted weird. And the only thing that I can correlate, aside from the time, is the Boveda pack. Well, fortunately, that's one of those correlation not equal to causation things. It's really hard to say yay or nay the Boveda strips terpenes or adds flavors or whatnot. I know a lot of people are very confident that Boveda does something, whether it takes something away or adds something. I have noticed it, but it's not consistent. I haven't noticed anything consistent enough to where I say, no, I'm never using Boveda packs. Never gonna say that. Because, for one, moist weed is better. So like dry weed tastes like shit and doesn't vape all that well and doesn't hold on to its terpenes. I'd rather have moisture at the risk. That said, I'd much rather keep it natural. I'd much rather dry my cannabis at the 55-60% relative humidity and keep the natural humidity through the curing and the storage. I don't want to have to add humidity. I don't want to have to provide humidity backbones with my Boveda packs. I don't want to. I'd much rather keep it natural. That said, it's California and it's dry, so even most recreational weed comes off the shelf at like fucking 48%, and bumping it up to 58 or 62% will really make it vaporize a lot better. So, Boveda packs to the rescue. Now, one of the other questions I get asked frequently is, can these things be recharged? Yes, they can. Yes, they can. We're going to do it right now. And what you need is a airtight container. I'm going to use a plastic Rubbermaid container. And I'm going to use two different methods in this video. In the same container, basically. So what I'm going to do is I got distilled water. And you don't need to use distilled water if your tap water is really, really good. Chances are it's not, though. And distilled water is pretty cheap. So I recommend using distilled water. Distilled water doesn't have all the minerals and the calciums and the chlorines and the fluorines and all that shit. So the two methods that we're going to do here. First method is full submersion. You can take these Boveda packs, and I know they're paper, but your money, like dollar bills, they're paper too. It's like a paper fabric. These things are made out of the same type of material. Not exactly, but I'm gonna throw them in there. I'm gonna keep a few for the other method, and I don't know if the Boost packs can be rehydrated or not. So I'm gonna try them. I'll throw one Boost in the water with the other Bovedas and let them get full submerged. This is gonna take several days. Okay, these packs are gonna sit in there for several days, so I like to do a bunch of them at once. I like to save a bunch of them up. The other method, I'm going to put them in a dry container, and they're going to use the humidity in the air inside of here. I'm just going to float that right on top of there, like this. See they're dry. But when I put the lid on, put one more in there. When I put the lid on, everything is going to be airtight, and the humidity will be able to access the ones in the little floaty. And the ones that are submerged will be absorbing water. And this is going to take like 3 days, 3 to 5 days. Usually when I do this, I put them in a Ziploc bag. Like I just take my Ziploc bag with all the dry Boveda packs, and I just add the water right to it, and I zip it up, and I set it there, and I wait 3 days. And then when they're done, they're all pillowy, and we're going to dry them off. But we'll get there in 3 days. We'll come back 3 days to check on these. See you in 3. Welcome back, Cotters. It's actually been 4 days because I'm a slacker and I wanted to include an extra day. Actually, I didn't want to include anything. I just got my days of the week mixed up. And last night when it came time to do this, I just didn't feel like doing it, man. I was just really depressed and tired. And I figured one day extra, not gonna hurt anything. All right, so here's where these two methods separate, really. The ones that were dry in this bin are now soft. So this one was crispy before, and now it's soft. There are no crystals in here. I don't feel any crystals. Yesterday or day before when I checked it, there were still some crystals. The 62 pack is the same. It's nice and pillowy. You can see the pillow factor there, but nice soft, pillowy, nice and dry. I can throw this into my stash jar immediately. I don't have to dry these off whatsoever. The Boost packs, they feel exactly the same as they did before. I don't know if they changed. The ones that are in the water, so I don't feel any slime whatsoever putting my hands into the water. I saw some other videos where they commented about the water was slimy. Not feeling that at all. But these have been recharged before, so maybe there's an initial slime factor. But they're sopping wet, and they're pretty pillowy. As you can see, they're pretty thick. Like it's got some liquid. It's got some liquid inside there. These need to be dried off. And what I'm gonna do is use paper towel. Just lay the paper towel out, and I'm gonna take these and just lay them flat on the paper towel. So just one pad, one little Boost pack per square space or whatever here, just so they can all dry out. Now this water is actually really healthy for you. Drink it. Just kidding. Don't do that. I'm not sure what's in there. I'm not gonna drink that. I'm just gonna throw this away. I actually probably use this to rehydrate some Hydro Stones real quick. You could be efficient and bundle this paper towel up on top of itself just to help dry the surface of these Bovedas. I'm gonna use extra paper towels and bundle them up even more. Just so the surface area gets dry. I don't want any mold or any other funky shit on there. I want the surface to be 100% dry before I put these in any sort of stash container. So I'm not worried about losing any of the humidity in the interim. I just want these to be dry. So I'm gonna let these air dry out on the paper towel for as long as it'll take. And it'll only take about a half day. Like by tomorrow morning or whatever, these are gonna be dry, or at least dry enough to use. And these are 100% recharged, and we are good to go. The ones that weren't submerged, they're already good to go, and I'm gonna use those right now. But these will have to wait until tomorrow. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Use the link in my description for your Boveda packs. If you want to buy some Boveda packs, again, I recommend the 52, or sorry, again, I recommend the 58 and the 62. Those are the two that I use the most of. Probably the 62 is what I reach for the most. But these 58s came with some top shelf California cannabis that I have, and I have a lot of these, so these come in really handy. Thanks for watching. That's all I have. Peace.